The Pacific Northwest is known as the footwear capital of the world, and for good reason. Truman Boot Company in Eugene is a great example. They handcraft quality leather boots that are built to last. Let's take a look at how they get it done.
Now it's time for Made in the Northwest.
Hey guys, today we're down in Eugene, Oregon with Truman Boot Company. Vince, thanks for having us down, man.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Well, I want to see what you guys do down here as far as creating boots, because they're just absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Should we go take a look at the process?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, this, if you could have smell-o-vision here, this is amazing.
Yeah. We don't smell it anymore because we're used to it, but
Yeah.
people come in, UPS guys, and they'll be like, oh man, this really smells good in here.
It does.
You kind of just get used to it, but everything really, the quality of the boot starts with the quality of the leather. And so we've got 5 or 6 tanneries around the world that we work with, and they're top tier tanneries. Majority of the stuff coming from Italy, the UK, and here in the US.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, some of this stuff is just, wow, absolutely
This is
stunning.
this is a really cool British suede, and it's a shrunken fiber, and they'll actually shrink this down 30% less than its original size.
Wow.
And so normally this type of leather is not strong, durable.
Yeah.
But when they shrink it up like that, it really, like this stuff you can beat as hard as any full grain leather, and
Nice.
it's really quite pretty. They call this a pull up.
Okay.
It's a pull up leather. There's a lot of waxes in there.
Yeah.
And those will take very minimal care to keep you going for 5, 10, 15 years, depending on how you take care of them. This is a cutting machine from Switzerland. It does everything. It marks all our holes where our eyelets and our speed hooks will go.
Oh, cool.
It draws all the sew lines. We used to have to do all that by hand. And it's not like a die. It won't change shape over time. You use those for 5,000 times and they start shifting.
Moving around. Yeah.
This is the exact same cut every single time.
Wow, that's awesome. And even got the eyelets there.
Yeah,
Cool.
that punches. I mean, this used to be a common thing where someone's got to eyeball these and get those exactly right.
Yeah.
We've not had a single eyelet out of place since we've moved over to using this machine.
All right, Vince, what's the next step here, brother?
So the next step is sewing. We start by zigzagging our quarters together, and that's the first point in which this starts to actually look like the beginnings of a boot.
Yeah.
And then the final stage is what we call the upper, and that's got your structure in here. They'll take and put a leather piece of structure inside that, and then that'll end up going to lasting. Next step is putting eyelets and what we call speed hooks.
Okay.
This is a couple different names for them. We call them speed hooks. But that's they're gonna be punching a hole back where we marked it with the cutting machine, and then your speed hooks are gonna get put in on the top. That's got it marked out, but there's no big hole there, and so he's going through and punching a hole.
That's cool. That machinery looks fairly old.
It's very old.
I love it.
Next step is we're gonna put that upper on a last,
Okay.
and that is our insole. So that's where everything's gonna get basically stitched to that, and
Okay.
that'll be that's the framework of the boot.
Okay.
So that will stay in there for the life of the product.
Nice.
Okay, so we've got a piece of cotton with a thermal back adhesive on there, and what that's gonna do is that's gonna hold the shape of the toe.
Okay, that makes sense.
We want to heat that up.
That just activates the glue and
That'll
makes things
activate
move around a little bit.
everything,
Yep.
So this is a leather called waxed flesh. That is from Horween Tannery in Chicago.
Cool.
And that is a recipe out of a World War II archives. They were
cool.
basically trying to find a leather that had a smooth inside
Yeah.
and a smooth outside, and so that's
So you
a
get that classic look.
very historic leather.
Yeah.
Next step is going to be heel seat lasting.
Okay.
And that's where our leather counter that's inside there, we're basically gonna go ahead and close all that up. That has been wet with alcohol and water, and once that dries, it's gonna take you 2-3 days to get that really dry.
Yep.
That's gonna hold that shape of the heel, just like the cotton and the thermal did in the front.
Oh, cool.
That'll put nails all around there.
Wow, that's cool. All right, looks like we've got some stitching going on over here.
Yeah. So this is the infamous Goodyear welt. This is going to be how we resole or rebuild our product. After we've lasted it, we're gonna go through and trim, and then he's gonna add a welt, 270 degrees around that product, and that's gonna get it ready for our next position, which is called bottoming.
Nice, so that's Goodyear, like the Goodyear tire, huh?
Same inventors, yeah. Same, these machines are very old, you know, these might be from the 50s, 60s, all with a new motor, computerized motor added to them. These would have been very, very big World War I, World War II era machinery.
All right, the next step?
Next step, we're gonna go ahead and fill that void in there, and we're gonna do that with cork.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, and that'll end up drying, and that'll be your next level of cushion.
That's cool.
Yep. Yeah, so now that cork's been put in there, we're gonna go put what we call a leather midsole on it.
Okay.
And they'll use the same deal like we did with the heel counter. They'll use a little bit of alcohol and water, and that'll have it take a really nice shape. And so very, very few pieces of footwear that you go into a shoe store and you pick them off the shelf, they're probably not gonna have a midsole like that. That's where we're getting ready to resole off of that, right? So we'll put a rubber sole on next, and most of the time, assuming someone's taking good care of their product, you can just take that rubber sole off and change this out. You could do this 8-10 times as long as that welt can hold up with it. This is a pair that someone sent in to be resoled.
Okay.
And we basically, all the upper leather is still intact, and so we went in and put a new welt and new midsole, new outsole, cork shank, and getting ready to throw a heel on it.
All right, what's next in here? This is cool.
Basically, we're gonna go ahead and press our sole after we've glued it.
Okay.
And that's gonna give it some real good contact. And it's dry when they go together, and so this is basically cementing that.
Nice, that just presses and gets that like ultimate contact between those two pieces.
Yeah. And you could do that with a hammer too. You could if you're doing this at home and wanted to fix your own soles, glue it, let it dry, and hit it with a hammer. That would do the same thing.
Nice.
So basically, right after that, we're gonna go ahead and stitch that all together.
Okay.
And that's gonna make that bond even stronger. And this has got a nice tread on it where you're not walking on those stitches, but that'll basically keep this boot going for as long as you walk on concrete. It's gonna take a little longer to wear out.
You made that look easy.
Basically, our next and almost final step is we're gonna go ahead and throw a heel stack on there to give us our height, and then the rubber heel is gonna go right after that. And then we go ahead and set nails into that.
Okay.
Just like you saw the nails on there, on that last, that's what we built the boot on. That is a steel plate in there. So those nails go in, they hit the plate, and they turn back down.
Nice.
It's called a clinch nail.
Yeah.
And this is just about ready to get finished. So final stage is almost final stage is finishing. He's gonna go and rough sand it with a 25 grit sandpaper, and then he's gonna hit it with a 100 grit sandpaper, and they're gonna get that outside of that sole and the midsole and the welt nice and smooth, and get it ready to get stained and sealed. Cool. Final stage is going to be Irene's gonna put a layer of wax around that.
Okay.
And that's gonna end up drying.
Wow.
And we do kind of a special abrasive wax on top of that. What I mean by abrasive is it's got a little like pumice in it.
Okay.
And it's gonna go ahead and smooth that out really, really nice.
Oh, nice.
That'll get you some more water resistance. Leather doesn't love water. And we're in the P&W, so you want to do everything you can to kind of keep that water off of them. We put a nice polish and wax on before they go out, and then people often ask us, leather care, what we can do to keep things going and looking good, but very few people think about making sure your rubber doesn't get dried out and your leather down at the bottom there.
Yeah.
So that's another spot to make sure you get when you're taking care of your product.
Vince, thanks for having us down, man. This is beautiful stuff.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
How do people find you guys?
TrumanBoot.com, and you can come down to our factory and get sized up and pick out a pair of Trumans here right in Eugene.
I love it. Truman Boot, made right here in the Northwest.